Shock and disappointment. Why did Suga and RM choose BLACKPINK over Jin? What really happened behind the scenes in LA and Osaka? Why would BTS stand divided at a time when unity mattered most? Why did Jin, freshly discharged and launching his deeply personal RUNSEOKJIN tour, face the silence of two core members, RM and Suga, who were instead seen attending BLACKPINK's exclusive Deadline World Tour in Los Angeles? Was this just a scheduling coincidence, or is something more serious brewing beneath the surface of BTS's once unbreakable brotherhood, in a shocking turn of events that has left armies both heartbroken and confused? A subtle rift appears to be surfacing within the very heart of BTS. The long-awaited return of Jin, who was finally discharged from military service just weeks ago, was meant to be a celebratory moment for the entire fandom, a moment of healing, reunion, and artistic rebirth. But instead of a full-circle homecoming, fans were left asking, where's the support? And more pointedly, where were RM and Suga when Jin stood on stage alone in Osaka, as Jin stepped onto the stage for the first stop of his emotionally charged RUNSEOKJIN tour in Osaka? The crowd erupted in cheers. The moment was cinematic, intimate, and heavy with unspoken emotion. Every note he sang was laced with vulnerability, every pause between songs filled with silent longing. Fans wept, Jin wept, but glaringly absent from the audience, and noticeably absent from any public show of support, were two people who arguably should have been there, RM and Suga. Their absence wasn't just unexplained. What made the situation even more baffling was the simultaneous surfacing of fan-taken footage from Los Angeles, showing RM and Suga at the BLACKPINK Deadline tour, casually blending into the VIP section of the crowd, clapping, smiling, laughing. While Jin was bearing his soul in Osaka, RM and Suga were watching Jennie, Jisoo, Lisa, and Rose dominate the LA stage with thunderous glamour. Fans didn't need tabloids to stir the pot. The images spoke volumes. And the silence from Big Hit only fueled speculation. Is it just bad timing, or was there a choice made? This apparent prioritization of BLACKPINK's tour over their own members' emotional comeback has raised questions not only about loyalty, but about deeper cracks within BTS's internal dynamics. Could it be that personal artistic directions are pulling them apart? Have friendships cooled behind the scenes during enlistments? Or, more shockingly, is HYB silently engineering a divide for strategic purposes in a behind-closed-doors industry as complex as K-pop? What the public sees is only the surface. According to insiders who spoke under anonymity, tensions have been quietly rising for over a year, particularly regarding future solo projects, agency pressure, and differing visions for what BTS should be post-military. Jin, known for his emotional authenticity and deep-rooted loyalty to BTS's original identity, has reportedly expressed frustration at what he calls the commercial dilution of their purpose. Suga, meanwhile, has leaned increasingly into solo artistry through August D, and RM has been exploring abstract philosophical projects, distancing himself from what some interpret as BTS's more sentimental legacy. BLACKPINK's LA concert wasn't just a spectacle, it was a global magnet for music elites, Western collaborators, and corporate strategists. Was their attendance really just casual support for fellow artists? Or a calculated networking decision that came at the cost of brotherhood? To understand the gravity of Jin's disappointment, one needs to revisit the emotional landscape leading up to the Osaka concert. In a pre-tour interview, Jin confessed, "I've waited so long for this, not just for the stage, but to stand beside my brothers again." Those words, in hindsight, now feel painfully ironic. For a group that rose to stardom preaching unity and love, the silence that followed the Osaka show was chilling. An tweet from RM. No Instagram story from Suga. No visible gesture of solidarity from the two members who were once the emotional backbone of the group. J-Hope, currently still in the military, managed to record a short video message that played before the show. Jimin and Jungkook were both seen in backstage photos, offering hugs and tears. But the silence from RM and Suga, two of the original voices who built BTS alongside Jin, remains one of the most disheartening moments in recent K-pop memory. Even more confusing, fans have noticed a change in Jin's tone. In a fan live stream following the concert, he seemed unusually distant. At one point, when asked about RM, he responded with a tight-lipped smile and simply said, "I hope everyone finds the path they want." It wasn't bitterness, but it wasn't joy either. The message was cryptic, yet heavy. Are we witnessing the slow unraveling of something sacred? It's hard to believe this could be the end of BTS's unity as we know it, but something is undeniably shifting. The group has always prided itself on open communication and shared vision. But with military service staggered, solo careers expanding, and HYBE's growing diversification strategy, it's natural to question whether that core bond can hold under pressure. And if Jin's tears on the Osaka stage weren't just about the songs, but about something much deeper, then fans have every right to be concerned. Could this be the beginning of a quiet farewell to the BTS we knew? The absence of RM and Suga at such a critical milestone has already sparked debate online. Some defend their decision, claiming scheduling conflicts or professional obligations. But others aren't convinced. Even a short video message would have been enough, one fan tweeted. Jin stood alone, and they chose another concert. The heartbreak is not just Jin's. It's shared by millions who followed this group through every high and low. For now, neither Suga nor RM have released a statement. BLACKPINK's team, predictably, has remained silent on the matter, distancing themselves from the whirlwind. And Big Hit? As always, they offer no comment, fueling the belief that silence is not protection. It's avoidance, as the next legs of the RUNSEOKJIN _EP tour continue. Fans wait with heavy hearts. Will RM and Suga show up at a future show? Will this silent tension ever be addressed openly? Or will it remain one of those unspoken chapters in BTS's legacy that fans are left to interpret on their own? Because if the brotherhood is truly as strong as it once claimed to be, this wasn't just a missed concert. It was a missed moment, a fracture, a statement, loud, painful, and impossible to ignore. And the question that now echoes louder than Jin's final note in Osaka is this: was this the day BTS stopped being one? But after all the uproar, the tears, the anger, and the speculation, a quieter truth slowly began to emerge. A truth that demands just as much attention as the sensational headlines. The story of Jin's disappointment over RM and Suga choosing BLACKPINK over him is not only misleading, it's completely false. Yes, you read that.
Right.
The viral narrative that dominated social media feeds and sparked emotional fan wars over the past few days was built almost entirely on speculation, selective images, and unverified fan accounts. And while the emotional reaction was real, the foundation of the story was not. In fact, a closer look at the timelines, official schedules, and statements reveals a dramatically different picture. One that underscores the danger of media manipulation and fandom-fueled misinformation. Let's break it down. First, the claim that RM and Suga were spotted at BLACKPINK's LA concert on the same night as Jin's Osaka performance turns out to be chronologically impossible. BLACKPINK's deadline tour stop in Los Angeles took place 4 days before Jin's Osaka concert. The blurry photos circulated online, purportedly showing RM and Suga at the venue, were actually taken during a general music festival where BLACKPINK performed a short surprise set, not during the tour stop that fans assumed. Even more revealing is the official statement from HYBE, quietly released in Korean press, but largely ignored by international media. Both RM and Suga had pre-existing commitments related to mandatory military training sessions during the Osaka concert window. Suga, who is currently serving as a public service worker due to medical reasons, is under strict curfew and geographic limitations, meaning he legally could not have attended any live event overseas, let alone casually flown to LA for a concert. And RM? He was in the final phase of his basic military service transition, attending closed-off military seminars in Seoul at the exact time the Osaka show was taking place. The entire story of their intentional absence not only crumbles under scrutiny, It becomes a painful lesson in how easy it is to believe what we want to feel, even when it isn't supported by fact. What about Jin's so-called sadness on stage? His visible emotion was real, nobody denies that. But as clarified by Jaehyun himself in a behind-the-scenes video released days later, the tears were a culmination of gratitude, nervousness, and emotional release after returning to the stage after nearly 2 years away. In his own words, that moment had nothing to do with anyone's presence or absence.